Alright, hey guys, I'm going to show you or share with you a tip if you're just starting out coon trapping before I get into this next set. If you're going to be trapping any kind of lakes that have woods around them, this is a good tip. So you can see we're kind of in a wooded area here. You got a small drainage from one pond that goes, snakes down through to a bigger pond. And this is a good place to set in between one pond and the other, where you have water going from one pond to the other. And usually on the other side, a lot of times, there's a overflow pipe. Right there you can see the overflow right out across there. That's another good place to set coons, on the other side of the pond dam. There's usually trees, if it's a big lake, and there's woods down there in the woods where that water drains out, and there's going to be like a little creek down there, and that's a good place. So these are the two good places to make sets, is where water comes into the pond or lake and where the water leaves the pond or lake. If you set over across banks over here, all along here, across the bank, you're just going to be wasting your time, because if you make sets over here in this area on the water here or in the woods and over there, you're going to be catching the coons that are going to be traveling over there, but you're going to have them right here in the trap instead. So if you make sets all the way around, you're just wasting time and just wasting your trap, because you can be putting it somewhere else. So that's a tip I've learned. Just set two ends, where the water comes in and where the water exits, because the coons come through here, they get trapped when they usually go over here, but you already have them here, and if there's coons that come out over from there, you'll have them over there before they even get to these sets. So that's one area. Just forget about setting any traps. But if you don't have any woods, it's just big open area, and then there's woods way off in the distance, and that's probably where they're coming from. So you might just set a couple along one side and set it all the way around, because a coon will work his way all the way around a big lake in one night. So you don't have to have a bunch of sets around a big lake or pond, just a couple along one stretch of it, and you'll get them. So that's one tip I wanted to share with you. So now we're going to go into dry land coons. This is going to be late winter. Even any time of the trapping season, you can dry land. If the creeks are dry, this is good. But I go to dry land for coons when everything freezes up, like the ponds and creeks. So even dry land coons are a little tougher to trap, because they're going to be traveling a wider area instead of down in the creek where you know they're going to be. So the best place to dry land coon trap is on top of, right by the creek itself, or by den trees along the creek. The den trees is usually where I set, because you know they're living there. They're going to come out of the hole sometime in the tree. Another good place is around old barns, or any old building. That's a good place, set around those. But this is how we're going to make a dry land coon set for you beginners. All I'm going to use is a hammer, like that one. It has a digging tool to make our trap bed. Some kind of staking system, either it be rebar or a log for using as a drag. Most of the time when I go to dry land in the late winter, the ground's going to be frozen, so you're not going to be able to drive a stake, and that's when you go to the drag by using a log. And you're going to need some kind of digging tool. It's going to be tough digging a dirt hole. So if you can spend the money and get a dirt auger, like a hand auger, that's the best thing to get. So let's get into the set here. First, you're going to want to have some kind of good backer here, because coons, they'll come in from the back and work your set, so you want to have some good backer here. And so what we're going to do first is dig our dirt hole. If it is cold, it's frozen, there's ice, but the ground's kind of soft and you can still work with it, and that's a good thing. I don't have a dirt auger yet, so I'm just going to use a trowel to dig my dirt hole. So we're just going to dig a hole here. Try and get it as deep as you can to make them work that set. So this hole is probably as wide as this hand trowel, and it's probably 3.5 inches wide. It's good to make your dirt holes between 6 to 10 inches deep. But now we're gonna, since we got that, just move this dirt to one side, so you don't need that for anything. And so now we're going to make our trap bed. You can see we got the hole right here. We're going to come back. If you make a fist, put the bottom of your hand at the edge of the hole and come out to where your thumb is here. And then you're going to go over one fist, and that's where your trap bed is going to be. So it's about 4 inches back and probably 2 or 3 inches to one side or the other. And when it's if it's frozen out, it's going to be hard to dig a trap bed. So usually you're not going to get it very deep. So just dig a little trap bed here. Like that. It's gonna be rock hard, so because if it's frozen. So we're gonna use a 1.5 still. Put your trap down into the bed there. And since it's gonna be frozen and you can't push it down in the dirt, you might have to use some dirt clods to put up underneath the levers to make it so it won't rock back and forth. And you're going to want something under the loose jaw here. And so that trap is bedded good. We don't want to, at least personally, I don't put dirt over the trap. I used to when I started out, and it was pretty much a complete waste of time. But you do have to put some kind of material over it instead of dirt. So usually if you're along a creek, there's going to be trees. And so you get leaves. You do want to avoid getting small sticks in with the leaves, because if you get any kind of small stick, like even a little stick like that, that'll hold the jaws open enough to let a coon out if he's caught by the toes. And that happened to me a couple times last year. So all you have to do is just get a couple leaves here, maybe a little bit of the grass, and just put over just like that. And that's a good bedded trap right there. I can still see the pan here, but you don't have to sift dirt over it like canine trapping. So just save you time. You don't have to sift dirt over it. For your stake, if you can get a stake in the ground, I'd go with a T-stake. If you can't, then just go with your log again for your drag. So for this stake, for this set, I'll just use this T-stake since I can push it in the ground. So I got a trap staked. The next thing we're going to do is bait the trap, or bait the set. What I like to use is cat food, dry cat food, and a spoonful of mackerel. We'll put the cat food down in there and put a spoonful of mackerel or tuna down in the hole. You can use a little bit of lure since it's late season, cold out. Some kind of lure helps draw them in a little bit more. I also use some fish oil, not a lot, just a little bit around and up here on front of the hole, and maybe a little squirt down in the hole. But the last thing to do with this set is you're going to get some kind of sticks here. Since it's going to be frozen out, you're not going to be able to push them down in the ground. So what we're going to do is you want some kind of high backing. You're just going to lay your sticks here. You don't want too many. You just kind of want to look natural, like a little place in there where something's been digging. So just get some sticks here. Put there, maybe a couple up on top. And that's it. One other good thing to do is if you're along a creek and it's a real steep bank, and you know the coons are going to be down by the creek walking, and you can't put a set down there, squirt some fish oil, make a little trail, just squirt a little fish oil from your set down to the creek, and they'll smell when they hit that spot when they're walking along the creek. They'll smell that and they'll climb up the bank right to your set. So I don't know if you can see that good or not. A good completed set here for a dryland coon. When everything's froze, you can't put any pocket sets in. This is what I go to. So you got some nice little, some piece of logs, nice backing. A big grass clump works just as good. We got our dirt hole right there, and our pan is right at the point of my finger right there. So it comes back about 4 inches and offset about 2 inches. Just cover it up with some leaves and grass. Make sure there's no little sticks in there, because if there's any little sticks and it gets caught in the jaws, then you come back next morning, you won't have a coon, he'll be gone, and you'll have a sprung trap. So that's the last go-to set that I use if it's frozen out and I can't get in the water and make any pocket sets or blind sets along the water. So this is, if there's any other kind of sets for coon that you hear about or read about in magazines and you're not sure how to make them, I've probably heard of them, of the sets before. They're probably a unique set that not a lot of people use on their line, but if there is any other sets that you want me to make, show you how to make for coons, let me know. I'll be happy to make them, show you. But that's it. There's 3 different sets here that work good: the pocket set, the blind set, and then the dry land. And this is for a beginner trapper. You can see with these 3 videos, I didn't use very many tools. I only had pretty much 3 tools with me to trap with. I had a trowel, some kind of hammer with a digging tool, and a pair of pliers and some wire. And If you're going to use stakes, then a couple stakes. But doesn't take much to get started. I really recommend getting out this year, this winter and fall, and start trapping, because I think it's going to be a real good year trapping. At least here in Missouri it is. We've been getting quite a bit of rain, so it'll fill up the lakes and ponds and creeks and things like that. So if there's anything about trapping that you want to know, let me know, and I'd be glad to help. So good luck this season if you start, and we'll talk to you later.